To me, the Beverly Hills Farmers Market is the best cultural institution we have, because I think culture really starts the way we eat. And if you start with the best products, you're gonna have really great food and the family gonna be healthy. Now I'm gonna make a vegetable soup. We have here some carrots, and we're gonna get some leeks and some potatoes and have a great soup. So my Sunday meal is gonna be ready. Good to see you. Okay, well, let's get some carrots. You know
the red?
Do you have a little bag for me? We put that in the soup. Look at that, the best vegetables here on the market. The great thing is here, everybody has fabulous vegetables at the farmers market here because they all come fresh from the farm. They picked them yesterday and they come Sunday morning here. Is the perfect way to shop. All right, let's get a little parsley and a little basil.
Okay, I have parsley up here.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can grab a bunch of basil.
Okay. What does it smell like? It's rosemary. Smells strong, huh? All right, now let's go get a little leek. Thank you. Potatoes. Looks like it's gonna make good mashed potatoes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We need some asparagus. Look at that.
Wolf, how you doing?
We are excellent. You have some good chicken left for us? Oh, look at that. It's like a turkey.
Yeah.
Louis laid them last night. Yeah.
So how are you today?
We found a good chicken. We are happy. I'm gonna make one of my favorite dishes, which is gonna be a grilled chicken breast and grilled chicken legs with a mustard sauce and some mashed potatoes. So a perfect Sunday night dinner. Yeah, the cipollini, my favorite. I'm gonna have them with the chicken.
They're great.
Yeah, for
They're
sure.
super when you cook with them. When you caramelize those things,
The
they're
best.
the best things on the market.
You're right. I cooked them before you were born, remember?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
That's you.
Ask him, huh? Every Sunday we come to the vegetable market, and spring is especially fabulous because you find all the vegetables, and the fresh strawberries who are just coming to the market are perfect, sweet. A strawberry shortcake, there's nothing better than that. Here, smell them. It smells good, huh? Hi, how are you, sweetie? You want a strawberry? Thank you. Look how beautiful they look. Are you gonna eat all the strawberries here?
Yes.
Well, you're eating the right stuff.
That's good. You eat well, see?
You want me to bag those up?
Yeah. Now look at this beautiful Gaviota strawberries. I think Sherry gonna make her some wonderful strawberry shortcake. Look at the color, dark red. So if you come to Spargo, you get exactly the same thing, the same vegetables, what we get here. So we all only eat the best. We have our vegetables here. You saw me get some great carrots yesterday. So I don't get the smallest one for that because it makes it easier to cut. You peel them. For me, having a great vegetable soup reminds me of my mom. You know, this is real home cooking. My mother went in her vegetable garden, picked up some carrots, some leeks, some kohlrabi, whatever she had, and she made a great soup. Because for my father, a meal without a soup wasn't a meal to him. Now I'm gonna use 2 of my leeks or new onions, whatever you can find. Peel them, remove the outer leaves. Now here I have asparagus. For soup, you don't have to peel them. And here I have my little baby broccolis here. So I'm gonna cut them in small pieces too. And the same thing with our asparagus. I'm gonna add this asparagus and the broccoli right at the end because they don't take a long time to cook. And I love when we have a little green color in it. So these 2 green vegetables we add at the last moment. And you have to try to cut everything in about the same size. I can smell the carrots. They smell so sweet. Excellent carrots. I'm gonna cut the asparagus. And I'm gonna cut them a little bit longer so you can see them. When my mother used to make vegetable soup, she always used the leaves of the kohlrabi, of the the small broccolis, and add that at the end. It gives it really a delicious flavor. But I'm gonna make a pesto after, to drizzle pesto on top of our soup, so we don't have to do that. Because we bought some really great basil, a little garlic. I'm gonna add some pine nuts, and it's gonna be just delicious. See, that's so easy to do. Anybody can make a good soup at home if you start out with great ingredients. You know, the vegetables are really so fresh and so much flavor, so it's gonna be easy to make something delicious. All right, here we have our vegetables. The next thing is we're still gonna cut our potatoes, and then we are done with our main work for the vegetable soup. So it's really the cutting, chopping, it takes the longest time. All right. Here's our potato. Okay, here we have a bulb of garlic. We're gonna get a few cloves, like 2 nice ones, and I'm gonna peel these 2 garlic cloves and put them with our soup also. You know, I love a little bit of garlic with everything. Naturally, in Austria, it was almost used as a medicine. My mother always said, you know what, you put a little garlic in your soup and you won't get a cold. So I think if you use a little garlic, it's always healthy. And people always tell you, you hear it on the radio or somewhere, they say, eat garlic, it's gonna do this or that. So, and the good thing is once garlic is cooked, that way it doesn't have this really strong flavor. All right. And I have here a little sprig of thyme I'm gonna add to my soup. Not too much because I don't wanna overpower it. And maybe a little bit of oregano here. Just, that's enough, just a little bit. We don't want to make it too strong because then you don't taste the vegetables, you only taste the herbs. It's, for example, rosemary is so strong, so I just use it for chicken or for pork roast or for a beef, a roast beef or things like that, because it's too strong for a little soup. Okay, now we're gonna make a little pesto to drizzle atop the soup. This is gonna give it the fresher of the basil, because basil is much better when you put it right on the top of your soup, on the top of your pizzas, because it has the aroma of fresh basil. So we have some basil leaves here. Now, don't forget to wash them before. I washed this already. Put basil leaves in your blender. Now, in the old time, we used to make it in a mortar and pestle, but it took half an hour just to make a little pesto. It's too much work, so in a blender, it's perfect. Nobody will know the difference. If you get the vegetables from your local farmer's market, that will make such a big difference because they just pick them and bring them to town, and then you get the freshest vegetables you ever have. Now we're gonna make a little pesto here. We have basil leaves in here. We're gonna add a few parsley leaves. You can make your own, whatever you like, just parsley, or if you add cilantro, it depends what you like. I like basil because it's really great flavor. Okay, and then a little garlic. If you have some pine nuts, or roast a few pine nuts, add them to your leaves here. Or if you want almonds or hazelnuts or anything you prefer. Pine nuts is really the classic way. All right, now we're gonna chop it. First we have to put a little olive oil, I forgot it. Now for this, I always use really good olive oil. You don't want to be cheap for the pesto to use cheap olive oil because you're going to eat it just like that. So you can get some great California olive oil or Italian or French olive oil. This is really important. Okay. So in 30 seconds, you're gonna have pesto. Why use a mortar or pestle? Nobody will know the difference. Look at that. Perfect pesto. Now, we're gonna reserve a little bit for our soup, and the rest I'm gonna put in the refrigerator. If I wouldn't use it for my pasta or something tomorrow, I just would freeze it, and it stays really well. We're gonna heat up our pan here, add a little olive oil, We have it right here, and a little butter. Okay. I always add a little butter. I'm used to it. I grew up in Austria. We had cows out in the backyard, so butter is what we use the most. All right, we'll heat that up. When it starts to foam, we're gonna start adding our vegetables. All right, we're gonna start with our leeks and our carrots. Now we don't want them to get brown, so you sweat them like that. We call it in cooking terms sweating them to get them really translucent. So if you do that, then we're gonna add our sprig of oregano and thyme and our garlic here. Now I have here some vegetable stock. If you have at home some chicken bouillon, you have some vegetable stock, you can get them in your local supermarket. It just gives them more flavor. But if you don't have any of it, water will do. Just don't add too much to it. All right, you can see our vegetables are nice and sizzling. It smells like my garden at home. It's so delicious. All right, we're gonna add a little salt. We always add a little salt at the beginning and a little bit of pepper, not too much. I like my soup with a little pepper on it, so I always add fresh ground pepper at the end. My kids don't like a lot of pepper. All right, now you can see the vegetables are glossy. Can you see that? Just perfectly done. Now we're gonna add our stock. Here it is. All right, now we're gonna let that boil for about 2-3 minutes. Then we're gonna add the potatoes. And when the potatoes are done, then I'm gonna add my asparagus and the little broccoli flower. Now it's time to add our potatoes. Now, this is almost like in Italy they make a minestrone, but we always think a minestrone has to be red. But you know, during different times of the year, the soup looks different. We make a minestrone with tomatoes when tomatoes are in season, which means the summertime. So now it's time to add our asparagus and our little broccoli flowers here. All right, you ready? Here we go. Now look at that. If that doesn't look like spring, what does? Okay, now I also bought a little goat cheese yesterday because we have great fresh goat cheese. What I'm gonna do is make some bread croutons here with a little olive oil, grill them or put them in your oven, bake them, and I'm gonna spread goat cheese on top. I'm gonna serve that with my soup. Now you can make them in advance and put them underneath a salamander or just put them in the oven a little bit. Like a little crostini. It goes very well with our soup. And that's how we serve it, even in a famous restaurant like Spago. The main thing is it cannot be overcooked. You can see the color of the vegetables. It looks beautiful. And that's what cooking is all about. You know, keep it simple. A lot of people try to make things very complicated. I always tell people, keep it simple. Now we serve a little crouton on the side here, just like that. And you can drizzle a little bit of your pesto on top. All right, so that should be enough, not too much. And a little bit on your cheese sandwich here. We have another sandwich here, let's give them two. All right. And look at this beautiful soup. It's a meal by itself. Maybe a little salad within. Maybe serve a little salad, and that will be it. You will be very happy. Who needs meat if you have such great vegetables? I love vegetables, and especially a wonderful soup like that reminds me of being at home with my mother. Now that was so long ago, but I still remember the flavor. We have this fabulous produce I bought from Louis, the best chicken. Now this is a large chicken. It will feed a family of 4 to 6 people because this is a 5-pound chicken. All right, let's get it here. I washed it and patted it dry already. See how that's how we cut off the legs. Pull it open. Here we have one leg. Second leg, look at that. Just cut it in here. And then cut it right down the middle. Look at that. Looks almost like a turkey leg. They are so big. But they're delicious corn-fed chicken. Now, if you want, depends on you how many pieces you want to cut it. I'm going to cut mine into 8, which means the leg I'm going to cut in half and the breast. So you keep the half the breastbones, and we're going to just slice that down just like that. Here's one small breast. So that way you have, for everybody, a piece of leg and a piece of breast. Now we're going to cut that down here. All right, and this we cut, it's so big, this breast, we can cut it into a few pieces. All right, look at this breast. Okay, we're gonna cut the leg in half. If you cut it right where the joint is, it's easy to cut. You don't even have to hack it off. I cut the end off, use it for chicken soup. Okay, same thing here. Okay, here's the leg. All right, look at that, big pieces of chicken. That's all from one chicken. Now we're gonna season the chicken with salt and pepper on both sides. It's really important to season it really well before you cook it. Now we're gonna dust it with a little flour. And here are cipollini onions or pearl onions or whatever you call it. Look at that, I have butter in here, the onions, a little salt and a little touch of sugar. We're gonna put them on the fire just like that. And they will colorize beautifully and taste really sweet. You can serve them at home with your grilled steaks, your roasted chicken, but it's great when you find them at the market because they're really fresh and really delicious. So let's put a little olive oil in here. Heat it up. The chicken is seasoned and floured lightly, so we're gonna wait until they get a little smoke in my pan. Now, when we're gonna sear the chicken, it's really important to start it skin side first. So we floured it lightly, seasoned it with salt and pepper. So when you put it in the pan, always skin side down. If it's the legs or the breast, it doesn't matter. Always the skin side in the pan. It takes a few minutes to brown it. I have the heat on high right now. But once it's brown, I will turn it down. Now I have here a sprig of rosemary and thyme. I'm gonna throw it in here too. All right, you can see the chicken is searing really well. It has to get nice and brown, just like that. Look at that. That's the way we want them. Nice and brown, every piece. If you don't want to make a sauce, for example, you still can cut the chicken like that, throw some extra herbs on top. We'll add a few garlic cloves. So you bake it like that in the oven and it will taste just delicious. All right, now let's check our chicken in here. All the smell comes out. Look at that, beautiful and brown. Generally, the breast is always cooked first, so you have to check the leg, put a stick in here, and see if the juice comes out nice and clear. Then you know your chicken is done. This is a pretty big breast, so we do it here too. All right, looks good. Now, the next thing separates the chef from just a cook, how to make a great sauce. I'm gonna show you how to make a great mustard sauce. All right. Now, we're gonna remove the chicken from the pan. See, nice and brown everywhere. We're gonna keep the chicken warm here on the side of the stove. And I'm gonna remove all the branches I put in here. The thyme, the rosemary, the garlic cloves. Now if you want, you can save the garlic cloves and eat them because they are nice and tender inside, or put it on a little bread. We're also gonna remove the excess oil. And you see, it's very important that your pan here has the caramelized juices from the chicken. That's what makes a good sauce. Now I'm gonna deglaze the pan with a little port wine. You can use a little sherry, a little red wine, white wine. You can add a few raisins if the wine is not sweet. I like the tanginess of the mustard, the sweetness of the port wine. Now always be careful, as you saw, if you put alcohol in a hot pan, it will flame, so stay away. Especially don't have kids next to you. All right, we're gonna reduce the port wine by about a half, and we're gonna add a little bit of cream. Thank you. All right. You can see the port wine is really reduced. It's syrupy now. Look at that. Now, we're gonna add some cream to it. We're gonna boil the cream for a little bit and then add the mustard. The mustard also will thicken your sauce. It will give it a lot of flavor, but it will also thicken your sauce. All right, we turn off the fire and we're gonna whisk in a tablespoon of Dijon mustard and a tablespoon of whole grain mustard. Now, at home, if you only have one mustard, don't worry, you just put in one. You can see how it thickens our sauce already. Now, if the sauce gets too thick, just add a little bit of your chicken stock if you have some left over, or a little vegetable stock, or a little water. Okay, we're gonna add a little fresh ground pepper to our sauce and a touch of salt. We don't need too much salt because the mustard has salt in it. Thank you. We're gonna taste the sauce. Perfect. It's sweet and tangy. Both together combined makes a perfect sauce. We're gonna serve the chicken with our little onions. So they are very sweet and caramelized tasting. So it's really gonna be a perfect dish. You can plate your chicken family style or individual. It all depends how you wanna present it. Now, for me at home, I present it family style because everybody can take what they love. My wife loves dark meat. I like dark meat too, but I'm always second to her, but the kids like the breast. Our sauce is perfectly done here, look at that. Now you could just pour it over or spoon it nicely over your chicken. See, we teach all of our chefs to use the spoon, not just to pour it on it. And now we're gonna finish it with our onions here. Here we have a few finely chopped herbs, parsley, tarragon, whatever you like, it's fine, to put on our chicken. All right. Okay, we're gonna put a few leaves of parsley around for color, but also for taste. So we chop a few leaves and put a few leaves around. And now we're gonna sprinkle a little bit of chopped parsley on top. And this is it, voila, your perfect chicken with mustard sauce and pearl onions. Look at that. We had the fabulous vegetable soup and the wonderful chicken with mustard sauce and pearl onions. And Sherry, where is the dessert?
We're gonna go whip it up right now, so come on and join me. So we have these gorgeous berries, strawberries from the farmer's market that Wolfgang got yesterday, and we're gonna do such a simple dessert with them. Strawberry shortcake. We're gonna save the strawberries for later. For now, we're gonna start with the biscuit dough. The biscuit dough is made of flour. It's all in my cookbook, Desserts by the Yard, but it's a cup and a half of flour, half a cup of sugar, a little bit of baking powder to leaven it, 2 teaspoons, a little bit of salt, pour that over the top. So we have this big sifter, but at home you could just use a regular sifter. And this actually sifts twice because it has so many wires on it. So away we go, force all that through. And you can do this by hand. That's the beautiful part about it. In a separate bowl, I'm going to crack my egg. And you could do this with milk, but I like heavy cream. We're going to whisk it up. This dessert is great because it's so simple. And the best part about it is you can make it in advance. After you make it, you can freeze it. So now I have my heavy cream, my egg, whisked together. I'm going to put that on the side. And now I have my flour. No biscuit recipe is great without a little bit of butter. Butter's good for you. It helps to fill in the lines. People say, God, you look so young. Well, it's because all the butter and sugar I'm preserved well. I love to do this one by hand because you can really feel the butter going into the flour. And what winds up happening is the butter actually helps to leaven or make the biscuit rise. So we don't want to cut it too small. A lot of times in books they'll tell you pea size, not pea size. You want them like flattened walnuts. See the way that is? And what will happen is when you put it in a good hot oven, the butter will actually act as a gas and it'll separate those layers and make it a big fat fluffy light biscuit. So just as simple as that. It's broken down, you can see. We're going to take our heavy cream and egg and pour it right over the top. This is great to do with the kids at home. Of course, their hands have to be clean, but it's a great dessert to do with the kids at home. Fold it over itself in the bowl, and you can see it's going from wet into a dry biscuit dough. Another trick is that you can make this biscuit dough in advance, and during peach season, I turned it into a cobbler. I cut the biscuits and I placed them on top of the peaches. Okay, so we're going to put this onto the surface. As you can see, it's come into a dough now. I flatten it a little bit, and you can see those big fat chunks of butter in there. Don't be scared. What will happen is, as we roll it out, it'll thin the butter and make it into a great dough. A little extra flour. Just a whisper of flour, not a lot. I throw it like I do a baseball. Over the top. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't make our own biscuits. So that's why I like to bake now. I went to the Good Humor truck. And we used to get the ice cream and I'd get a strawberry shortcake out of there. And that was my favorite dessert. So this is my farmer's market version of my favorite dessert. So if you can see, what I did was a little bit of flour, and I keep folding it over itself. And this is a good one again for the kids because you can say, fold it over in half and then turn the dough. And that's it, it's finished. So we're gonna let this rest in the refrigerator for about an hour. Then I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna roll it out. So now our dough is sat in the refrigerator for about an hour or so. And you can see this gorgeous marbleization in the dough. That's the same thing for pie dough. You want it like that. And so this way your dough is going to be so flaky. I just take a regular chef's knife. You can even use a pizza cutter if you're working with the kids. And I'll just do it in little triangles here. If it sticks, no worries. Just a little excess flour on the knife or on the dough. And then you just cut through and you get your biscuits. Here's my favorite part. If you look real close, you can see the butter hiding on the inside. And when it lifts up in the oven, it's going to give you all these gorgeous gaps. Some more flour. And away we go. Any little excess pieces, you can stick it underneath. Nobody will know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can have 7 people come over. Okay, so we're going to place these on the pan. I alternate them so they bake evenly. Little trick. And here. Now, to give them a gorgeous color the way they do in the bakeries, we have something called egg wash. The egg wash is equal parts egg yolk to whole egg. We whisk it up in a bowl and then I just brush it on. This gives it this gorgeous bakery color. And if you really want them dark, you can egg wash them twice. Now here's the secret. Okay, don't tell anyone. But this is what gives it that extra flavor. We put a crust of sugar on top. And I hold it like a fist, so this way I can get it evenly over the top of the biscuit and not all over the tray. And you see, I put a generous amount on each biscuit, about a tablespoon or so. And then I let it soak into the egg wash. And so what's going to happen is you're going to have this gorgeous crust once we bake it. Yeah, just a little bit more, just a little bit. More flavor, more flavor. So now once it's on, what I'm gonna do is I'm just run my finger over the top to make sure it seals in and every bite has that sugar. That's what's gonna give it that extra flavor. Okay, so we're gonna put this in a 375-degree oven for about 20 minutes or so. Check your oven temperatures and you'll see it's golden brown. Okay. So, while our biscuits are baking, we're gonna whip up some cream. Once again, this can be done in advance, really simple. And this is just our garnish. Nothing is better than fresh berries from the market, and I really don't wanna do that much to them. A little bit of cream, a little biscuit, warm biscuit out of the oven, nothing could be better. So, we've got heavy cream, some creme fraiche, gorgeous creme fraiche from Northern California. Whipping. Get a balloon whip. These work awesome. And make sure that your bowl is wide enough, because what happens is people put them in small bowls and you go to whip and you can't get the air into the cream. So it's a little tip. So I whisk it around at first to combine the two. Now I'm going to start to beat. When I beat, what I do is I go in a circular motion. If you can see, my hand isn't all the way at the end of the whip. It's down here where I can choke up on the bat. And all I do is go in a circular motion, and it'll come together in no time. You don't have to go to the gym, and you burn the calories for the dessert. So that works out great too. Now another key to whipping cream is not to over whip it. You don't want cottage cheese, or butter. So what you do is just whip it till I call real pretty, sexy cream. Nice and silky, just there. See how it holds those peaks? Just ever so. Someone might say that that's soft peak. And see how pretty that is? And if all I have to do is 2 more turns, and it's over whipped. Okay? If you do over whip though, quick fix, throw a little more heavy cream in it. Don't use the whip. Use your spatula and just carefully fold it in. And that's our cream. I don't use sugar because the berries are sweet enough. We're at the height of the season. We're at the farmer's market. The strawberries are amazing. So just a little creme fraiche and cream. The biscuits have the sugar over them. You don't need so much sugar in your desserts. So that's ready. The biscuits are baking. We're going to cut up our strawberries. We don't even have to marinate them. They're just so perfect. I look to take off the white part of the berry with my hand. You could do them on the board and just cut them. When I was a little girl, my grandma would cut my sister's sandwiches in squares. Mine got cut in triangles, so mine tasted better, of course. So the same thing with the strawberries. I think if you cut them too small, it doesn't taste as good. If you quarter them like this size, it's just enough for your mouth. So it works out great for eating, and it'll add to the textures of the dish. Small things, and they all make a difference. The most important thing, though, is to go to the farmer's market every Sunday, see all these wonderful farmers, and then use what they have. This and the cream, that's a dessert in itself. So the biscuits are ready. They're still warm. So I'm going to put some berries on the plate. And they're going to act as a pedestal. Just straight up berries. Pick this guy up and away we go. And this perfectly whipped cream, how fabulous is that? Just a little bit, you don't need a lot, and right up the middle so you can see everything. Some more berries around the outside. You don't even need sugar. If you want, you could marinate them with a whisper of sugar, a little vanilla, a little wine. But this is my favorite way of having it. Fresh farmer's market berries, simple shortcake, perfect cream.